Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, this is going to be a specific message because bizarrely today I was outdoors first off and was not anywhere. There was nobody anywhere near me in sight, around me, nothing. I was outside actually in the woods. And all of a sudden, I smelled grape candy, like grape Jolly Rancher kind of candy. So, very, very, like if you remember that flavor, that smell from being a kid. Maybe like grape soda. I mean, I think all the fake grape flavoring is kind of the same, but it was just so weird. I didn't taste it, I smelled it. And so obviously, that's just a bizarre thing. And that's when I do these kinds of specific messages, is if something bizarre and specific comes to mind or something pops out at me that I'm like, okay, that doesn't fit. One of these things is not like the others. And so that's how we're going to start this. I have no idea what that means, other than it's funny. I said I was out in the woods and we've got like this giant sequoia. Hi, guys. Great to see you. Um, this may be connected to somebody's tree of life. My first thought when I had that weird waft, that weird odor of grape candy is, instantly took me back to my childhood, because I don't think I have eaten a Jolly Rancher since I was like 9. But I guess there's like gum that's grape flavored and stuff too. I don't know. Maybe this is connected to childhood, the tree of life, our growth pattern in life. But this is obviously right now, we've got somebody who could have a favorite tree. They may be outdoors. They may be noticing trees more frequently. And this could be a connection to their tree of life. And perhaps the way the guides are maybe sending a signal or a message, letting somebody know that, hey, think about your childhood, think about who you are, think about where you've come from, and then think about where you're growing now, because something about the past is going to impact our character's future. This is very good portents here, but we do have this element of huge growth. I'm thinking that this is more like the guides are trying to send a message to somebody saying your tree of life, your relationship, I don't know. This feels like a character either has a timeline that they already should have been on, or a timeline that, like, think of it this way. By the way, we did just get the 3 of Swords, but hang on just a second, because I have to get this thought out first. When in the United States, obviously settlers came to the East Coast first, and then eventually they had to lay railroad tracks in order to like really move mass populations and really get things cooking over in the West. The early settlers came by wagon train, but that was a long journey. And then, as they laid train tracks all the way across east to west, that's when like we really saw migration of goods and people, services, right? So that you had to lay the tracks first for significant expansion. And I'm thinking, just because I keep looking at the height of this tree, I'm feeling like the guides or the universe is saying to somebody, look, the railroad tracks have been laid for this chapter of your life. You perhaps have been malingering where you're at in this thought process of a heartbreak, a betrayal, a lover that wasn't the person who's supposed to even go the distance. And yet your big old tree of life, all it's done is continue to grow. Your path is clearer than it's ever been. Your happiness is more there for the taking, and the pathway will be easier, because while you've been grieving the wrong relationship, the road has been laid for the right one. That's the way I would look at this. Okay. I'm sorry, this is going to be like a candy story, I suppose, because right now this is making me think of all kinds of gummy candies. Chewy, gummy, like, around Valentine's Day, they put out those like gummy hearts. Sometimes they're like cinnamon flavored, sometimes they're cherry flavored. All this looks like a gigantic gummy to me instead of a heart. So I don't know if somebody's eaten on the candies today, the chewy candy, the sucky candies. Maybe this is about sweetness coming into somebody's life. We have got the King of Swords, and it is sideways. I'm not sure how to take that just yet. We may have somebody who's got a dragon tattoo. This could be somebody entering a character's life or exiting a character's life. And I would say entering or exiting a character's mind. And I only say that because obviously he's up in the clouds. This could be a weird tip of the hat to like an embattled version of Cupid. You know, usually Cupid is a little chubby, cherubic, you know, like naked baby with wings, all tubby and chubby, floating around in the sky, all happy like. But this would be like a little Cupid who's been through hell. They have grown, they have seen things. I don't know that I would say that that's Cupid yet. That's one interpretation on this. Somebody could have a little Cupid that they, you know, I'm picturing somebody's got like little cherubs or something somewhere. I'm picturing in their bathroom, like hanging on a wall, like a painting, a picture, something specific. If this is an actual person, a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, again, they could be someone who feels a little bit life weary. They may have a tattoo, or it may just be that their dreams that they have carried, because dragons are about dreams, their dreams that they have carried with them have been, we'll say, heavy things that have, I don't know, this person looks pretty slim. They look pretty like sinewy, like their life has worn off the fat, and what they're left with is just sinewy strength and musculature. We have a 10 of Cups. This 10 of Cups is very much about, I think this is somebody who still wants their happiness. I'm feeling like this is maybe late in the game, but we have somebody who still dreams of their happiness, and maybe this is the most important dream left standing. You know, sometimes in life we have these big plans, right? I'm going to be a, you know, whatever, an astronaut. I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be a household name. I'm going to become famous. I'm going to be a billionaire, and I'm going to have great love. I'm going to drive a great car, blah, 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 blah. And one by one, some of those dreams don't work out. One by one, some of those dreams turn out to be like, oh, that was the stuff of childhood. I definitely feel like there's a connection to childhood, but also the reality of being a genuine grown-up adult and figuring out what's most important. That's when we really arrive into adulthood. It's when it doesn't mean that's when we let go of dreams, but it's when we figure out what's a bigger priority. Is becoming famous, a household name, driving a fancy car, is that really the most important thing in life? Or is the most important thing to actually fight for our happiness? This 10 of Cups shows clearly like a mother and child here. And granted, they're skeletal structures here, meaning the scaffolding is here, but it hasn't really, we haven't put flesh on it yet. We haven't turned this into the thing that they've chosen up until this point. I feel like other dreams, hopes, wishes have fallen away for this King of Swords. And what is left, when all the other, you know, chess pieces have been knocked off the board, this is what's left. Maybe we could say his queen is what's left. The desire for happiness, a relationship, a very like a nuclear family, a one-on-one relationship is way more important now than all those other, you know, we'll say failed dreams, things that didn't come true, things that didn't happen in their life, disappointments. Those pale by comparison to the thing that they really want now. Ace of Wands. Okay. This is somebody who is like, he's thinking about marriage. He's thinking about love. He's thinking about a romance. He's thinking, I do not believe that this is what this King of Swords had on mind before. I do not think that. I think this is new for them to be putting the idea of love at the forefront of their mind, to realize that that's maybe the most important thing, the biggest thing, the best thing that they could pursue is actually a love story now. That is not who they were before, from what I can see here. Why are you sideways, King of Swords? Why are you sideways? Two of Pentacles. There's that mother and child again. And this is about juggling. This is about balancing things. You're concerned. You're concerned about what? Being able to provide for a mother and child, the son, whether or not they would be somebody that would make her happy. They may be older. I'm feeling like he's looking different than he used to. He's definitely, you know, he's got some, what do you call it? Like road wear. This is, he's, at least as far as he sees himself, he may be like, well, I'm, you know, used goods at this point. You know, life, I've put a ton of energy to try to make dreams come true. A lot of them fell short. Now what I want more than anything is love. But I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm seeing I've aged, and I'm seeing, maybe he doesn't have hair anymore. Maybe that's something he's concerned about. Maybe he's, judging himself. I don't know. He seems like he's been through some stuff. He seems like he's aged. He seems like this is someone who is looking at himself and he's now wondering, am I something that she would want? Would I make her happy? Now, this kind of looks to me like he may have somebody on his mind that could be younger than him, or she certainly comes across as somebody younger than him. Whether she is or is not, he sees her as very youthful, very bright, and he sees himself as fairly worn down. I don't know. Is there really that big of an age gap? Or is it just the way he's feeling? We have the Lovers. There's not actually an age gap. They're actually both older, but he sees her. In his mind, she'll always be this really youthful, really glorious. She may have dark hair. She may be a blonde. Maybe she changes hair color, but we keep seeing her as somebody who's very radiant. She could be a Leo, and either she had a child, or her career path is her baby, or there's something about him that he sees her as like, I think he sees her as an empress, basically. Empresses are the nurturers. They are the ones who, they give life. So if nothing else, by the way, she could sing, or she should sing. If she doesn't, she may be somebody who is also like, she got this soothing energy to her. Definitely has a decidedly like bohemian energy to her. And maybe part of that is part of her youthful spirit. She may play ukulele. She may play acoustic guitar, or again, she should. He sees her as very free, and he keeps picturing her at the ocean. So I don't know if he just likes the idea of getting married to her by the beach, or if he sees her as like an ocean creature, but she's very, very, very attractive to him, very alluring to him. But they're not actually in a different like age bracket. They're contemporaries to a certain extent. He sees the two of them on one hand as like growing really old together. He's got a lot of romance in his mind right now, because this is Paris back there. We got the Eiffel Tower. So he's thinking all about like having, like I don't know if it's like a honeymoon in Paris, or if he's picturing growing old together and celebrating decades of a life together. It's just interesting because he already seems older. He already comes across as like 50s at least, and then he sees her as like 30s, but in truth they're about the same age bracket, and he's picturing them getting old together. So it's interesting how, and then I have to say, if we go back to that very first card, there's something about time that is showing up in this storyline, right? With that Four of Wands having grown, that Tree of Life having grown so much already, it's, on one hand, I think that their relationship together could be easier because there's going to be a lot of dedication, at least on his part, to wanting this to be like the one and done. This is the person he wants to marry, wants to stay with for the rest of his life. And that's very clear. But there's also this huge elapse of time, because he should have already been building with her, from what I can tell based off of this tree. They should have been building, inches and inches, segment by segment of the Tree of Life together already. I think he's late in the game to marry this woman. In this story, again, this is a specific story, so we try to be as specific as possible. But I'm going to say he should have already married her, is what it looks like to me. Let me change decks. Tell me more about you, King of Swords, just who you are. Page of Pentacles. This is not good because he signed a contract with the demon cat back there. You notice we've got this cat with glowing red eyes. Normally the Page of Pentacles would be somebody who's just, like conversing, somebody who's having dialogue, somebody who's interacting with individuals. But it seems like instead of him connecting to perhaps this relationship and putting down roots with her, it appears he signed a contract, and maybe this is like he signed a 7-year contract, 10-year contract with something that he didn't fully understand what he just did, but he picked a path that kind of it's like life slipped away from him. A gap of time disappeared right out from under him because of a contract he signed that was quite toxic. Now we could say, well, why'd you do that? Because it looks like he looked back over his shoulder like, I don't know that I should sign this contract. How is this going to impact, a relationship? How's it going to impact anything else in my life? But you can see he still seems to have, I don't know, he's got the quill pen in hands. We got the 7 of Pentacles in the reverse. I don't know if this is one of those things where all he has to show for a big, long contract, if you look at this card upright, is a whole hell of a lot of nothing. You notice that this money tree, it didn't grow one freaking bit. And this is in the reverse. It's almost like if he just finished up, like say it was a work contract that kept every moment of his time spoken for, and he's just now done with that. He's just now like, quote unquote, free again. This is a man who needed to break a contract a long time ago that he signed, but he didn't. I think he followed it through to the end, but instead of it making him wealthy, instead of it making him tons of money, I think he's exactly who he was, we'll say 7 years ago, because of that 7 of Pentacles. He's exactly in the same boat he was in 7 years ago. He's no richer, he's no wiser, he's no nothing other than older. And unfortunately, all he's done is he wasted 7 years. Now, is life ever wasted? No, because we have lessons. But we have this 7 of Wands next. And the 7 of Wands, okay, so let me show this up close. You notice that we've got this dirty wallpaper, and scratched onto the wallpaper, there's all of these little like stick figures, almost like somebody's been counting the days. And then we have this little outline of like a big old smiley face, but then leaned up against the wall in fetal position, being jabbed by little scary creatures here, is her. And I'm thinking that this is like he was in more or less a jail cell. And one of the biggest problems here is that while he signed some contract, I do feel like this is a contract of life that was the biggest mistake he's ever made. And I say that because this was a divine lesson, but when you go ahead and do something you know you shouldn't do, and then it yields jack shit other than stress, I would say this was a very big like karmic lesson maybe, but there's been tremendous stress on his part. And it's like he's been counting the days, counting the years or the months until he could be free of this. But in the meantime, it's either that he's hoped she's like been in stasis, this little protected pod. But I think he has held her in his mind. He's been putting on a fake happy face all the time. I think aware that he made an epic mistake, aware that he maybe even significantly betrayed her, this connection, his heart, an element of his own life. I mean, this is no small thing. This is a big old mess. And I was asking, like, let's find out who he is. He is somebody who's, even though 7 is a divine number, he didn't listen because we got the 7 of coins in the reverse. And again, he's been suffering with the 7 of Wands sideways. Like everything divine was like, press it down and just stay in this evil cat contract. I'm going to stay in the evil cat contract. I don't know. You completed your evil cat contract, whatever that was. Somebody got the better of you. You got played. He got royally screwed over. But I am going to go ahead and say, but he did it. He did this. He chose this. Maybe ego chose it. You know, maybe he wanted fame, fortune, whatever. He thought this business contract would be the way to go. But instead, all it did was it betrayed this connection and his own personal autonomy. Never, never, never give up freedom or autonomy. We've got a Queen of Pentacles and we've got the 8 of Cups. He has had to live, breathe, eat, and sleep knowing full well that he trapped himself. He dreamt of flying free, right? He's been in a jail cell all this time. This has been hell for him. The biggest thing has been He knows that this Queen of Pentacles has been free all this time, and she's probably moved on from him. He's here in the background, and he's got those, like playing cards, and it's like the whole deck of cards are just flying all over the place. It feels like he took a gamble and lost, and he's been very aware all this time. All this time he's been away from her, he's been aware that she is a free agent to go someplace else, to walk away from him. He has dreamed of being free and going with her. But let me ask this, King of Swords, why didn't you just free yourself and say, forget this evil cat contract, let me just be free? Page of Swords. He's been heavily watched. He's been heavily kept track of. He's been heavily observed. This Page of Swords says somebody's been spying on him and the hand of cards that have been played. It's like if you go and you gamble, and now guess what? Because you took that risk and you lost, you now owe the money to the house. It feels like that, like there's no going back for him. And somebody has been paying close attention to him, making sure he wasn't going to be exiting stage left. The Moon. Yeah, I feel like the big old secret eye in the sky has been watching him all this time. He's stuck in quicksand. He knows that he's been watched all this time until his contract was over. He was going nowhere. He signed that, and that's it. So is your contract over at this point? Because that's what it looks like. It looks like you're finally free. Yeah, the Chariot. He's finally free, and he's got, like I said before, nothing to his name. He may not even have a car. Or he's in the same old car that he drove 7 years ago. I don't feel like whatever his contract was, which really feels like a business or something like that, he let himself be owned by some other entity. Like, let's say this was a job where it was like, oh, you could be my executive assistant, but then you have to go where I go when I say. You're at my beck and call. If I want M&Ms at 3:30 in the morning, you're going to get them for me, and you need to be, sleeping in the room adjacent to mine. It could have been like, that's the kind of job he signed up for. So he has zero personal freedom, zero way to be dedicated to a relationship, especially someone else that he loves, because, who's going to put up with that? You supposedly love me, but you're at somebody else's beck and call at any given moment. You can go nowhere. You can plan nothing with me. If I'm in the hospital, you can't be there for me. You got to go when your boss wants you for those M&Ms. I mean, if that's what he surrendered, his freedom, and that's what this looks like. This is a very specific story, of course. He got sewn up good and proper into this too, because whoever it was really liked having somebody. It was a power struggle. Whoever the big boss was, really enjoyed watching him like a hawk, making sure every move was documented. He wasn't going anywhere. Now that he's free, all he is 7 years older. He seems to be, with this Chariot, yes, he may have his freedom now, but this looks a little ridiculous. He's got not a powerful staff like we'd expect an emperor and empress to have. He's got a plunger, and he's wearing a colander on his head like a hat. This just looks kind of like nonsense right now. And he's got kittens to pull his chariot, not lions, not powerful. So he is not in a powerful position, although he has his freedom now. There's also a weird graffiti of genitalia on the wall. With wings on it. I'm not gonna highlight that on this card, but it's there. So there's this element of like, even though he's free, it seems like he feels disrespected, is how this comes across to me. We have a 3 of Swords in the reverse. We have a 6 of Cups upright. And I think at this moment in time, he has this freedom. He is thinking about like, okay, now I can at least undo all of this that was done, right? I can now undo the betrayal. And now, I could sing and dance and I could be with the person that I love. So the first element here is the elation that I could be with her. The only thing is, if you look closely, this 3 of Swords was her screaming, angry, like, why did you do this? How could you have done this? How did you sign a contract with the devil cat instead of be loyal to me? And he's like conveniently forgetting that that happened, and now it's just time to dance. Now he can be with her. This feels a bit like a pipe dream. I'm not going to lie. This whole situation, he's looking at it seemingly from like, I can finally pick up where my life left off back right when I signed that contract. It's like all he's done is lost 7 years. So for him, he's now free, and he's picturing, I'm out, I'm free. Now I can pick up right where I left off. Even though I think he does know that all this time, that Queen of Pentacles, she's been free. She's been available to meet whomever she wants. She may have built a whole different life without him. He has been doing some spying on her. If we go back to that Queen of Pentacles card, though, because he's here in the shadows all the time, we can see him hanging out right there. You see his little ghostly face in his little outfit. He's hiding behind the door, watching her. Even though the whole house of cards has, blown apart, he still feels like, she's really strong. She's really together. He's been spying on her, watching her growth throughout this time that he's been away. But at this point in time, I don't know. Let's get a card just for her. Feminine, where are you at right now? He sees you as beautiful. He sees you as a musician. He sees you in his fantasy. You're still that youthful person you were 7 years ago. We have a 7 of Wands in the reverse. So she got over him. For her, the divine energy is like, I freed myself from all of this. I didn't stay waiting for him. She might have been tempted to at one point, but instead of standing here at the edge of a cliff and trying to fight for someone who didn't fight for this connection, someone who willfully signed a contract that took them away from her, she's done the prudent thing and said, I release him. I'm free of this. Queen of Cups, and she learned how to pour into her own like magical pool. Queen of Swords. She also, so he sees her as a Queen of Coins. She sees herself as a liberated queen who chose to love, to not get bitter, but chose to let him go. He is not her stumbling block. She doesn't wait for him. She started to love herself more. She became much better about having boundaries up about who she gives to, who she cares about, how much love she's willing to give. She has learned, you notice that she pours her cup right back into her own pool. This is someone who didn't even say, oh, I'll love him for the rest of my life. No, she said, that's mine. That love that I would have given you, but you picked something instead of having my back, give that back to me. You can't take that love with you. That belongs to me. So she took it back. I'm not saying she fell out of love with him. I think she did the thing that you realize you have to do at some point in life. You say, your behavior says you're not entitled to all that I would have given you. I did feel this way. It was true. And for the time that you were in my life, I would have given you that loyalty, that faithfulness, that love. I would have given you all of me. But you've proven you're not entitled to that anymore. So it reverts back to me. She's looking at love, not in a bitter way. I think this is how she prevented herself from becoming bitter. It was like, if love was actually an item that we could just, give to somebody and say, I gift you this. But if you prove that you're not worthy to hold on to it and treat it the way it should be treated, then you have to give it back to me. And I feel like that's basically the way she looked at this. So she didn't lose anything. I think that's the way she wrapped her head around this, which is an interesting concept. It may be because she took her emotions and turned them into logic. There's a reason these two cards came out together. So I'm thinking that that's how she looked at things. We have the High Priestess sideways. She's very good at working with intuition. She's very good at sensing, seeing, knowing, feeling, even like her own motives, their motives. I have a feeling she knew that this was the right way for her to handle things, because that's how she stayed a queen. She didn't go, she could have gotten bitter. She could have gotten twisted over this. She could have gotten rageful. She could have been devastated. She could have lost herself. And instead she said, no, I take me back. I'm going to stay a queen. I'm not losing any part of myself to this. Somebody else made a choice, which tells me they don't deserve everything I was going to give to them. It doesn't tell me that I'm not worthy. It doesn't make me feel bad inside that they didn't pick me. I'm not a pick me. I don't need to be picked. They need to be someone I would want to select to be with. And if the two of us aren't on the same page, then it's simply not supposed to happen. She somehow figured out how to handle this in a way that was really interesting. She's also always known they will be back in her life. King of Swords upright. She's known full well they would be back as a King of Swords. Look, I know this sounds like told you so, and I don't mean it to sound like that, but in this storyline, she is saying, I have always known that what they chose to do would be something that someday, when they're done with whatever else they chose, they will be back in my life, standing in front of me, sitting on my doorstep, or attempting to be back in my life. What does that mean for you, feminine? By the way, she may see him as somebody who is intelligent, but ice cold sometimes, just freaking ice cold. 9 of Wands. She sees him as, no matter if he shows back up as a King of Swords, she's like, oh, but he's got so many layers of his traumas. He carries the ghosts of all kinds of stuff. She knows he has some secret past. You notice that we've got these 3 like ghostly, I don't know if they're banshees or what, that follow him around. This 9 of Wands is a wounded warrior card. She's like, I already know anybody who makes poor decisions where they would surrender their freedom instead of give themselves to something that they actually wanted. You got to make those decisions, those bad decisions, because you are in a bad place. There's no way that you make good decisions, or that you would make a decision like that if you were in a good place. So he's wounded. Even if he shows back, the day he shows back up, he's still not going to be a healed individual. I already know that. He couldn't have made that big an epic mistake if he had ever been healed. And you don't just heal stuff overnight. So she expects him to come in thinking he's a King of Swords, but in her mind, she's like, I'll see him as the wounded individual that he is. I'll also see him as a knight trying to get back to me. She never didn't think that he like didn't love her, obviously, but she does think that there's how he views himself and how she views him. It's not with pity. I think if anything, she's seeing it with clarity. She's able to identify that he's got scars and wounds that make him make some poor decisions. That's why he did that in the past. Do I think he loves me? Yep, he does. Do I think he's a King of Swords? No, I think he thinks he's a King of Swords, but I see him as a knight. This is very straightforward, very blunt, but I also can understand why she would see it that way. Death card. She's also known this day was going to come, and it's like, if I want to give this whole thing a second chance, I will. This is not a queen who's ever going to cheat herself out of what she thinks is right for her. The Death card being here with the phoenix rising from the ashes, kind of wings. She's known she was going to cross this bridge someday with him, that he was going to show up, and that she was going to have to make a decision. Do I give this person another chance? I don't want to ask what should she do, because she already knows how to make her own decisions, right? She doesn't need advice. She just needs to make decisions for herself. We've got the 8 of Cups. She's saying, well, everything hinges on, did he really leave the devil cat contract in the past? Did he walk away from his old life? Is this a new beginning for him? It feels like she is actually saying, I always knew the day would come. And the question that I need answered from him is, are you done fighting those wounds of the past that made you intentionally choose something to punish yourself? She doesn't see it as punishing her. She sees it as you punished yourself by choosing a horrible contract that cheated you out of a chunk of your life. All the time you could have been with me. But are you done punishing yourself now? It's funny how she's so strong and so like unmarred by this. She did not take this on as her personal scar. She did not look at it as, you've hurt me, how dare you. She's looked at it as like, are you done punishing your own self? If you're done with that and you're committing yourself now here to me, that's what I need to know. So I feel like Four of Wands, again, here she is saying, you could have at any time joined me on my side of, the portal. You could have joined me in my life at any time. You were always supposed to, but damned if you didn't want to go ahead and punish yourself, sign a horrible contract, belittle yourself, give away your freedom, let yourself be owned by something toxic. You did that when you could have been with me all this time. So now are you joining me? Because that's the only choice you got here. I will never step into your life. She's not somebody who will surrender any of her strength. She's a queen 3 times out. She is not somebody who lives on her knees. She is not somebody who would surrender any kind of, her autonomy. And she won't get sucked into any kind of drama on his side. So in her mind, she's saying, if he completely steps into my world, it is an all or nothing here. She's not willing to allow anything of his past to still be a part of his present if he's going to be with her. Now that might sound really harsh, like she's saying, cut ties with, whomever. I mean, she might be demanding all of it though. You can only be with me if you leave behind whatever I don't know what the toxicity was entirely. I've described it like it was a career path, but it could have been family stuff. It could have been, whatever the layers of, traumas were that made him choose self-punishment. She's over here saying, the only way this works is if you leave everything behind. Basically, you can come to me with the clothes on your back, but that's it. If you still have ties to somebody in your past at all, forget it. This is an all or nothing on her part. It's the only way it's going to work for her. Now, does it sound demanding? No, it sounds like she has boundaries up. Normally, I would say, oh, that sounds demanding, but not in this story. Remember, he's the one who wants to be with her after all of this. She's the one saying, well, you can be with me. You could have always, but it does require, my empire will be intact. I have a healthy empire. I will not, risk any toxicity. I won't have you in my life if you're still connected to things of your past. I don't want you bringing your garbage into my world either. So if you're going to have exes show up, if you're going to have toxic family members show up, if you're going to have a boss who tries to get you back, if you're picking up the phone, if you're conversing with them, you can't be in my world. You stay with them, then make a decision who you're going to be with. She's very, very, very shh, this is it. This is the defining moment. You didn't choose me before. If you do now, then it's all or nothing. I don't think that this is to be controlling. I think it's to preserve and protect her empire, which is one that is she's a queen upright every single time. He's the one who was a king sideways. He's the one who, signed a contract with the devil cat. He's the one who's been observed and spied on. He's the one who's, even though now he's free, he's got nothing more than a plunger and a colander on his head. I don't blame her for having a boundary that is so ironclad. You can't bring your drama to my life. And also you can't have any drama. If you still want those things of the past, then you can stay in the past. So this is not because she doesn't love him. She's willing to give him a real do-over, but it's all or nothing. So can we go back to the very beginning and say, why the grape candy? What's the deal with the grape candy? Judgment. Okay, so this is one interesting thing. I don't know You know how you go to see the movies, and what do you do with the movies? You bring candy, or you buy candy for, $22.95 for like 3 ounces of candy. But maybe this is like, you notice that we're like in a theater watching a play, watching something play out. So maybe this is all about the drama of it. This Judgment card says we're sucking on candy and we're watching this thing play out. We as the audience are watching this whole drama play out, and we're all wondering, are they going to be back together? Are they going to, is there any reason for them to be back together? And we're kind of relaxed and we're eating candy and we're watching this play out. And I almost think it's like, there is a sweetness here. But I don't like drama myself. There's nothing about drama that I'm interested in. I don't want any of it. I want truth and facts, and I don't want liars, and I don't want, games, and I don't want needless energy. I don't have enough energy to spend doing drama stuff, right? Even though as a fictional storyteller, of course, we have all kinds of conflict and drama, and I always want to get to the bottom of it so we can resolve it. Because to me, that's where life gets good, is when you get rid of the needless drama. But I feel like this has been exactly that. This has been a needless drama that has played out. And if these two are going to be able to get back together, this has to be the end of the drama. It's time to, we don't want to sit and eat, popcorn and candy and watch any more of this play out. She definitely doesn't. So this is the moment of truth. So if we start at the very beginning, it's, I guess it's because, are we on, Judgment Street? Is this the day? Is this the moment? Sure, we can be together, but only if you're ready. It's funny because this says, up at the top, it says Judge TV, and down below across the screen, kind of like if we were, voting for somebody, like a performance, on those television shows, it says text to vote. Lines are open now. So, by the way, I've never noticed that on this card. So this is like one of those singing contests or, talent contests or something. It almost feels like this big drama has been so unnecessary, though. And that's the connection to the candy. Let's stop with the drama and let's just get to the answer. 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords is conflict. It could be that her ultimatum is one where it's like, because it's all or nothing. If you're going to be with me, you're done with everything else. That there could be like one final amount of drama to them, like leaving and showing up in her world. 2 of Wands is all about a choice. What are you going to do? The choice is yours. But if you're in my world, here's how it is. She's offering them the choice. She's offering them the world. What are they going to do? Do we have one final message? What are they going to do? Ace of Swords. We have this letter sitting over here. Is this their letter of resignation? Is this them leaving? I mean, that yellow is a good sign. That's happiness. That's communication. We have Hermit. Is this them walking away from everything? Or is this them saying, I don't know if I can choose to be with you after all, given what your expectations are? Hang on, one more. I got to go one more. I can't see what this is yet. What's the outcome? We have the Sun. We have the Knight of Swords. It is sideways. To me, this looks like he's going to be exiting the final, threads of his previous life, to the extent of like kind of ghosting or leaving a letter behind that says, I'm done, not coming back. I'm hearing Bob Dylan, I ain't going to work on Maggie's farm no more. I think this is him not telling anybody where he's going either, saying, I'm taking time to myself. I won't be around anymore. This doesn't work for me anymore. I'm gone. But it looks like he's very clear on where he's going. With that Knight of Swords sideways, this isn't an impulsive action either. It's the dawning clarity. You know what? I actually think, as we close this story, what I would say here is her being this direct with him, her saying, here's your choice. You're all in with me and you leave everything behind you, or you're not with me, period. Her laying it out so clearly, it's actually almost better because they don't have to, hem and haw about like, well, I have to feel bad or explain this or explain that. It's kind of like she just laid it out. So it's a simple choice. You choose door A or you choose door B. Whatever you pick is fine, but here's what it's going to be. And I almost think that that's easier for them because it gives them the opportunity and even the um not even just the expectation is this: you're all in or you're all out. And so they don't have anything to like even try to negotiate with anybody else, because if they want to be with her, this is the only way to do it, and this is what they seem to be choosing. So their drama stops now. I don't think she's going to be controlling of them. I think she's simply a person who protects her own life. And if they said, I want her, I want to grow old with her, I don't want to give up any more years of my life with drama, I want to build something with her, she's like, okay, then you build with me. But that means all the rest of that garbage from the past, including all your unhealed traumas and wounds. I'm not going to watch you beat yourself up anymore over stuff like that. You're with me, we start fresh, and you leave people in the past that would, cause you that much grief. You're not going to try to, I wonder if they tried to somehow build relationships with people that weren't even good to them in the past, because she is mighty compassionate to them. If you notice, like the fact that she would take them back at all says, and for her to understand, like, I know you've been damaged. She's very compassionate, but she also is not going to stand for like watching them keep getting themselves hurt to try to like stay in connections with previous people. I kind of think that's her real reason. She's saying, you choose me or we don't do this. I think it's also to protect them. So anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Really good to see everybody. We're going to bounce over to the other channel. Thank you guys so much for giving us a thumbs up and subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow. Really appreciate it. Anyway, you guys, I'll bounce over and we'll do some zodiacs on the other channel, get a single story and a collective message out as well. Legina Davis, you're first in the house. Great to see you. Black Butterfly 25, Rare Lestrange. Lindsay, happy Sunday to you also, my love. The Light, M is Free. Yes, depending on what color tone I go with, I can kind of change the backdrop color a little bit. It does have that bluish tone, because it's looking out over the canyon. But I don't know. What do you guys prefer, the warmer or the cooler tones? I was in the mood for cooler today. Oh my God, that's amazing. D. Interville, you literally drank a great poppy soda today. That's awesome. Annette Summers B. Nor A. Great to see you. So Juanita, you're chomping on a box of milk duds. That's awesome. I'm a big chewy candy fan myself. Christine Evans, great to see you. Hi, Sandy. Shauna, wonderful to see you, love. Deep Blue Night Thoughts, hey, hey. RS, thanks again, Lindsay. Anna Mystic, shout out to you in the UK, love. Calm C, wonderful to see you. You are holding down the night owl. I know this is early for me. I had to do this video a little sooner because of the weird smell of grape, and I was like, all right, that tells me I'm on this channel first tonight. So Sabrina, wonderful to see you. Oh, Calm C, are you melting in the humidity? Creepy but beautiful. So good to see you. You know I love your name so much. Travis is summoned again. Travis, we are sending you love. Same thing out there to EM, Violet, 11D8. Shout out to all of you out there. Hi, D-Rod. Thanks again, T-Baby, Sandy, LMC. Wonderful to see you. Hi, Genesis Harvest, Star Wishes. Tammy's Accords in the house. Wonderful to see you. Hey, Wonder Tea. Luminous Marina. Wonderful to see you. 01 Frequency. Hi, honey. Brooklyn, thank you so much. A shout out to you in New Zealand. Hi, Sherilyn. Debbie O. Cool Breeze. That's amazing. Hi, Kimmy. Wonderful to see you also. Peony and Pepper. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I used so many, and I've already put all the cards back. I'm not sure which ones I used in this now. I think I used the Mary L. I know I used that one. And I think I used one of the highly intuitive decks off of Etsy that came from Germany. I think it's called Highly Intuitive. And I think probably, was it Wizard's Tarot or Witch's Tarot? I can't remember which one, but I'm sorry. Sometimes when I use so many, I tend to use a lot. Every time my thoughts shift, I usually pick up another deck to ask another question. So that seems to be the way I operate. EM's in the house. Hey, babe. Voyager 2. That's awesome. Everybody loves grape. I thought that was so bizarre because I'll tell you, I have not had anything grape in so many years that's why it was such an odd thing for me. I haven't bought grape candy, grape soda, grape gum, nothing like since I was about 9. So I thought that was really bizarre that came into mind. And now come to find out everybody likes grape. Okay, well, that good to know. Of course, peony and pepper. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember everything at the top of my head. All right, you guys. King of Swords. Great to see you. Kate Cloud 9, Wendy E. Cassie, it's time. Wonderful to see everyone. Absolutely, yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you over on the other side. Oh, yes. Wendy E., thank you. Yes, Kate's Regretless Life. Debbie O, Texas. Wendy is answering your query, and that is the name of the other channel. There's a free link to the other channel that's in the description box also if you ever have trouble finding it. But yes, otherwise it's just Kate's Regretless Life is my main channel, and that's where I do all the other zodiacs and the today's topic videos and the single videos. So there's more content over there. It was my original channel. This one was really my vanity channel for my dog. And it's kind of for my overflow. Like I don't do specific messages like this on the other channel. This is kind of like, honestly, I prefer the specific messages. I have more fun with them, to be honest. And so I really enjoy having a space to just like let it run wild and be as like minutia and detailed as possible. I don't know why I don't do that on the other channel, but here I really like the broadness of it. So anyway, and this is where I do just Cancerian. I moved them over here because Cancer never found their videos on the other channel because it was just so content heavy over there. So anyway, Heather, wonderful to see you, love. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Sandy. You're so sweet. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the other channel. Bye.